good to go. Hey guys, welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. I'm here with Dan and Colin. We have a special guest today, our buddy Benny, who is a nice Giants fan. Also, the drummer of a group called the Gaslight Anthem. You probably have heard of them. Although, Benny, are you sure you're in the group? Because I don't think you are.
Yeah, pretty sure. Full time.
It's a poor attempt at gaslighting you.
I was trying to gaslight you.
Oh, gaslight. You know, this name, it's like the whole concept didn't exist when we named the band.
It's true.
You know, like, well, the thing existed, but it hadn't really been named yet, you know? And now I have like some email addresses and stuff when I give out to like, you know, young women at the van store. And I'm like, I almost feel like I need to do like a, you know, like a, hey, one of those.
It's literally talking about a light. Like
it's literally talking about, like fire in a lamp. Like
we came up with this name before you were born.
I know. Exactly. It's like, but it's like every woman who was named, you know, like Karen in the 80s and 90s just woke up one day and was like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, culture just turned on me in a weird way, you know.
I had a girl that worked for me her name was Alexa, and man, she was just so upset about that.
Yeah. Everyone asking her to play something all the time.
All right. As usual, guys, please follow Big Blue United, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You follow us, BBU Pod Boys with a Z on Twitter. And let's just jump into it. I mean, I don't know. Should we apologize for last week or what? I mean, I don't think anyone could have really. I would think the podcast last week when we were just like, you know, saying the Giants
a little
were
grim. I bet you guys were grim last week.
Never going to win anything. And then all of a sudden they come out and then lay a beat down on, you know, not only a good team, but the team that won the Super Bowl last year. So I just want to know, where is your head at right now? How much are we still in a space where do we think this is a good team? Do we not think this is a good team? Is this a bit of an aberration this game, or do you think the Giants can actually keep rolling? And you know, Benny, why don't you get us rolling since you're the guest this week?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, to contextualize this, I don't think you need to feel bad about being grim last week. There was like 95% Giants Nation feeling pretty grim, you know, and I even, you know, for a little context, I moved accidentally to a part of New Jersey that's kind of Eagles territory. Ooh, you know, New Jersey gets split down the middle somewhere, and there's this, you know, Eagles gap that's pretty wide. And I moved there, and I was invited to a dad football watching on Thursday night.
Oh, no.
And I was like, can't do it. Because I'm not sitting in a room with fucking 8 Eagles fans tonight, just watching them like manhandle us, maybe hurting one of the kids. I'm like, no, I can't do it. Stay at home, you know. And the funny thing was too, I've been so grim that I don't know if you guys were the same. I was just waiting for the Eagles to come back in the second half. Like, that lead did not feel safe at any point, and stop after stop after stop, I was kind of like inching towards believing each time, you know, when their score just stayed at 17 and Jalen Hurts kind of looked like shit and we're getting after him a little bit. And I was like, all right, you know, and then we have the swag, we got the dart high five, the Scatabo thing. And so I do think, like, philosophically, we saw like a signature game on Thursday. I think we really saw like one of those exposure games. You know, it's the Thursday night game, so it's the only game. There's these kids no one's heard of. They're filled with charisma. They're fun. You know, football is so fucking boring sometimes this year, just with 17-14 slugfests. And, you know, I got to watch like 35 out routes a game. And it's just, you know, analytics has gotten into everything, including football. So I think when you just see that like burst of lightning kind of thing, no one expected it out of nowhere. The fan base just going like, you know, I wasn't in the stadium, but I heard from some people, the vibe in the stadium to start the game was like, meh, you know, we're here. Let's have a couple. Let's see what happens. But like no optimism at all walking into it. So I think when you're just completely surprised and blown away like that, I really do think we saw a signature game yesterday. Not yesterday, I'm sorry, on Thursday. The thing I want to note, though, is like I've been a football fan a long time, Giants since the early 80s, and it's a game. And like, you have the Denver defense next week, and you have the things coming up. So when people are like, oh, are the Giants, should they trade for a wide receiver? Are they playoff bound? Are they this? And I don't know if this game should change the philosophy of how we were going into this season, especially when Dart came in. So I think like I'm so gleefully excited about what happened, but I also have still a tempered expectation for this year. Let's see what happens when someone gets a week of scouting on little Jordan Humphrey and stuff like that. Like there's a lot to balance out here, especially with like a pretty scary defense coming up. So it's one of those tests, and we'll see. But that's kind of where I'm at after leaving Thursday.
I can tell you, I went to the game with my wife.
You were there
picked me up from the airport because I had some workout in Michigan, and I flew into Newark. We got some dinner in Newark, and then went right to the stadium. And I was probably I probably didn't crack a smile until about halfway through the second quarter because exactly what you said. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Yeah. She looked at me. She's like, "Are you enjoying yourself yet?" I'm like, "I don't know if I'm going to allow myself to yet. I think they have to do a couple of more things to make me feel good." The vibe in the stadium was weird because, as you can imagine, these games, especially early on, as of recent seasons, so many fans sell their tickets. So it ends up being this away fan fest where you're seeing all the green, you're seeing all the red if we're playing the Chiefs, you're seeing like whoever. And it's weird because like I'm enjoying it and I want the vibe and the hype to be higher, but then it's the away fans that are killing it. And I made this point, and I'm a little off topic, but it's similar or related anyway. I just wish so badly, if there's anything to take away from like soccer, is separating away support with the home fans, because just put them in a section, allot the ticket amount that they can buy, and
make the seats worse.
Yeah. Just like put them up in the corner of the stadium where no one wants to go anyway, and it'll just be better for everybody. But
Colin, to be fair, last episode we were advocating for everyone to not go to the game anymore. That's the only thing we can do.
Yes. So last episode's title was Les Miserables. So
I saw that.
Not that I'm saying we're winning the Super Bowl, because we're certainly not going to.
No.
We have, I said it before the season started, that all the expectation that I had was to at least beat the Eagles or the Cowboys once and watch a entertaining brand of football, win or lose. And it's exceeding the expectations now. So it's kind of like house money for me, the way I'm looking at it going.
Let me ask you this. Like, if, let's say hypothetically, the Giants were 4-1 going into that game, Eagles were also competitive. Like, in your recent history of being a Giants ticket holder, would it have been a dominating Giants crowd if the Giants were good? Or is it always getting split off early in the season like that?
No, if it was 4-1, it would have been absolutely bonkers in there. And that's what kind of bummed me out a little bit, because it had the potential to be bonkers, but you know, the product kind of led to it getting to this point, because people are just so used to the flow of being like, well, I'm going to list the tickets, so what's the point of going? Let me get some money back.
Yeah, get some money from a fucking shitty Eagles fan. Yeah,
exactly.
Might as well. I mean, I was a Brooklyn Nets season ticket holder for like a decade, and I mean, you just get used to this defeatism. Like, anytime Knicks, Sixers, Celtics, Lakers, any of the big outside teams were in Brooklyn, just took over the stadium, especially in the Brook Lopez years. Yeah. So I know the feeling, and it's even one of the reasons I didn't pony up to go to like a Yankees playoff game. I'm like I can't imagine right now spending like $1,500 for like me, my kids, my family, the trip to watch a loss.
Yeah,
just can't do it. I can't do it. I need some guaranteed feeling of goodness for that kind of money.
Not strong enough for that.
No,
it's tough. It's tough. I guess this is sports fandom. You're always gambling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll say this. I wanted to, before we started, like grill Benny on his bona fides, but I don't need to now because the way he described his sort of posture watching this game tells me all I need to know. Sort of preserving yourself through this experience, because same all the way through. My wife was there. She was like seeing good stuff happen, which is unusual, on the couch with me. I mean, and I was just not even doing any, like, no reaction. I wasn't allowing myself to do that.
Right.
And
No clapping,
I
no
smirked.
clapping or
I'm
cheering.
by myself. Like, well, who am I, shielding myself from? I wouldn't
Sure.
allow it.
You're shielding yourself from yourself. That's fair.
Exactly.
It's a hurtful place sometimes.
So TJ was like getting hyped a little bit in the text thread, and I was just like, no, we still got to, I'm worried about Dable. I'm worried about the front office, blah, blah. I just like won't allow myself to see through it. But I think generally speaking, I've noticed like in day-to-day life, like my mom's like, what happened with the Giants? Why is everyone talking about it? Or other people that don't watch football, like, did the Giants like win something important? I was like, they beat the Eagles in the regular season on Thursday night.
That's it. That's all it takes.
But there's a lot of hype. And I think specifically, obviously Dart the quarterback, but Scadaboo is like the kind of player that the general fan base is going to freak out about. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if his jersey is like the #1 seller in the NFL.
I think it is, actually.
Is it? Yeah. I mean, it's got all the like telltales of just one of those insane NFL hype machines.
Yeah.
White guy, power running back, the kind of attitude he has, like big franchise. They are like someone in the NFL front office has just went from 6 to midnight during that game thinking about marketing plans for Cam Scadaboo. Even I have a kid, almost 10-year-old son. I'm showing him some highlights from this game. It was every single drop the shoulder Scadaboo run that just had him going like, oh, there is something exciting about it. I mean, again, like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I was going to do exactly what Dan was talking about before and cool my jets, but it sounds like this podcast needs a little blind optimism. I think the music guy coming in can do that for you.
Well, no, we're best when we're
sports guy standard,
when we're in despair. That's the standard for the podcast. But I do think watching that game, I mean, I was feeling pretty good, but I do remember texting you guys at the end, like the last time the Giants were up by a significant margin against the Eagles at MetLife. Colin and I were at that game. Matt Dodge punts the ball to Deshaun Jackson, and he runs it back for a touchdown.
I was so mad at you for saying that in that moment.
Yeah,
I was like, no. I said stop.
Yeah, that's like talking. That's like that's being like, hey, you remember your divorce?
Listen, I just want to you got to keep it real, because this is what we've seen from this team. But the other thing I wanted to say about this game that was the best part for me was that if I don't want to anoint Jackson Dart as the next whatever. He looks good. He looks like he has potential. Whatever that X factor, it quality is, he seems to have it. He seems to be a leader. So when we start winning these games, it's almost like, in the past you're worried about, oh, well, how does this kick us out of drafting a quarterback at the top of the draft? So now all of a sudden we're like, well, maybe we have a quarterback. So these wins against the Eagles and other teams during the regular season, and also, you might argue that we haven't seen a lot from Abdul Carter. He's been quite, good as a rookie so far. But you could argue, you might have your defensive anchor, your offensive anchor moving forward for a while. So these wins, just feel so much better because you're not necessarily vying for draft position the way the Giants were over the last couple seasons, just being the roster being just so devoid of talent. Not only due to, the Gettleman, leftovers, as well as Shane's first 2 drafts are pretty trash. But, I have to feel optimistic after this game. You have to feel optimistic looking forward. I just don't want to end up, like next week where we're just going to be every other week, we're going to be doing a different podcast. So it's just, it's very reactionary. We were saying Dable should be fired last week. Should Dable still be fired now?
So
I think a lot of people saved their jobs last week, at least for a while.
I was just thinking before. I mean, I don't know. We definitely jumped the gun on that just for the sole fact that I don't know. I can give Dable credit for, I don't know if it's desperation or if he legitimately saw something that he saw, like, all right, Russ he's not it, and if I'm gonna make this change now to the youth movement, it has to be right now. for many reasons. It save his job, bring a spark where there was none at all. And maybe he saw something that nobody else saw, and that includes ownership. He put it on his back. He's like, this is my decision. He made it very obvious in the pressers that it's like, nope, wasn't Shane, wasn't ownership. This was my choice to switch. And
because conventional wisdom was to wait.
Yeah. And like even going into the season, he felt, and we thought, we rolled our eyes a little bit, but he had some sort of quotes that made him feel very pumped up on Dart in general. And a lot of the guys on the team in pressers were saying the same thing. It's like, yeah, you like hearing that, but you don't really believe it. I
always believe the player ones, the ones that come from the front office and coaches, like press release bullshit. But I do think there are certain players that when they speak up, they don't speak up for everyone. And I do believe in those, like, if you're seeing consistent quotes, at least about a guy's character, a makeup, at least the baseline stuff that this guy's easy to be around and he works hard, which anybody in any kind of business realizes, like, that's a crapshoot. Yeah. There's a lot of talent out there, but just those baseline things, if someone doesn't suck to being around and shows up to work and works hard every day, not a given, So when you see that stuff come back, it is really promising. But same as you, when they made the switch, I was not happy about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I was set on this red shirt year. Yeah. And you paid Russell Wilson, you paid Winston, but there was some I think maybe, was it the neighbors thing too, that really cemented it, when it's just like, what does this season even mean if you're going out there with Russell Wilson throwing to Lil Jordan Humphrey this week? Like, that would have just fucking hurt, So, I mean, I think at some point too, you do have to recognize your fan base and just be like, all right, we got to give these guys something. And then luckily it worked out this time.
It's probably how Dable got, Mara and Steve Tisch even ever says anything anymore about anything. Who knows? But he probably used that to kind of be like, John, we need a spark here. And I believe in this kid. Let's go for it.
What I'll say about Dable is, and this might be a little hot takey, but looking back, and I think we were justified in what we were saying last week, in that he hasn't really proven much as a coach outside of that first year. But even considering that first year success, I think this might be like the first quality win they've had in the Dable era. When have they won by a real margin against a real team? Like that Vikings win. That Vikings team was like the biggest paper tiger team we've seen in forever. They hadn't beat anyone. And then everything between then and now has been pure trash. Like, when do we beat the Eagles under Dable until this point?
And not only beat them, but demoralize them.
And they're down right now. They're not what they were last year at this time. But still, they're arguably the most talented team, our talented roster in the NFL. And they've won big games this year. And that was a decisive victory in primetime. And I feel like that is like a first real feather in the cap. And that's why I said to some people I work with that are big Giants fans, like, this game felt better to me than that Vikings win in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
It just had more weight to it. Mm-hmm. It makes me like the season not over. Like last week, we were like, season's over. It's October 5th or whatever. Now we have stuff to look forward to. Now we can start thinking about how to build a team around a quarterback and, a fierce defensive line. Like, there's a lot of hope now. And
what scares me a little about this? Can I share something that's giving me fear as you talk?
Yeah,
get it out.
Is I'm reflecting on the feeling I had the first few games where Danny Dimes was birthed.
Yeah.
Yes. Like if I match the feelings, they're similar.
Yeah.
Similar feelings. I was sold. Even when he got the new contract, you would have heard me calling into WFAN. It happened once. You're like, gotta pay the kid. Gotta pay the kid. I said, this really happened.
And now to Benny in New Jersey. What does he have to say?
Benny.
We call him future MVP Daniel Jones in this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So this is again, and there's a lot of things that change. Like, the one thing I did notice is Dart was able to move the pocket around in a way I haven't seen a Giants quarterback do in a long time. And then all of a sudden, just certain things start to look better. Wandale Robinson looks a lot better. The offensive line looked a whole fuck of a lot better last week. And like, so there are these just like freak performances sometimes. There has been some bad stuff. So like, in an effort to not make the same mistake I made with Danny Dimes, Danny Cannell, Kent Graham, let's just go back.
Dave Brown.
Yeah, Dave. Oh, geez. Like that's where I almost don't want to put too much on him yet. Like this idea that you had your signature win and now you found your franchise quarterback and everything. Like I hate to be that guy.
No,
like,
I agree.
No, you have
wet rag in the room, but
people need to be like that. There's way too much. I mean, I love the optimism, and I think what we've seen from Dart is good, but it's three starts.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
there's one thing I'll say, TJ, though. There's two things I think that he does that Daniel Jones never did, and that I always was hoping Daniel Jones would figure out. And one is what Benny was sort of saying, the way he moves in the pocket is drastically different than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones could move, but he would basically just out of fear just run for his life.
You knew when Jones was scrambling. Dart sort of moves the pocket and keeps his eyes downfield, and you might think he's running, but he still might throw the ball. So I think that's like a huge positive.
But he's also, I think, in whatever 5 games in the season, is more of an important locker room presence than Daniel Jones ever was. He knows how to talk to the people on the sidelines. He knows how to engage with his teammates. Yeah. He's not just sitting alone on the corner, like head down in the iPad. Yeah. Like he's getting in the mix. He's inspiring other players on the team. And, maybe skills wise, we don't know the difference, but the way he moves and the way he operates, and I think the respect he's getting in the locker room is much different and much, that intangible aspect that we didn't have for the past 6 years.
He's got Riz. He's got some Riz.
Totally. Oh, yeah,
that's exactly what he has.
Moxie. Not to bring up Eli, but like it's funny to think about the styles of quarterbacking and being on a team, and like what we perceived Eli as being when he was our quarterback, as in comparison to what he actually is. Yeah, we're seeing it in the media now. We thought he was like a Daniel Jones character, quiet, sit on the end of the bench, not say a word. All the bad things that Tiki said on his way out about Eli, it ended up being completely different. And not that we're saying we know what Dart is now, but it's pretty obvious that the swagger he has walking around in that locker room is a hell of a lot different than anything we've ever had. I mean, I guess you have to go back to Phil Simms the last time he had anything similar,
Yeah. When someone moved it that much. I mean, Kerry Collins sure tried. He was sharing cocaine with the whole locker room, Tried to get it going.
A lot of 30 packs of beer, bringing them in,
They were ripping hard. Yeah, they had some little paunch bellies that year.
Well, talk about sad Super Bowls. Woof.
2000?
Yeah. That was rough.
Let's stay optimistic.
I mean, when you go against a quarterback juggernaut like Trent Dilfer, it's tough to W.
Oh,
that was all defense, of course.
I told someone in the last couple of days, I guess. I'm in a fantasy league with a bunch of people, and there's an Eagles fan in that league who was talking so much trash before the game.
Oh,
and I ended up finally giving it back, and I think I called Jalen Hurts the modern day Trent Dilfer, and that was like the biggest. He
is a little clunky sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes I can see it.
Right? I'm a system guy.
I'm suffering
getting 1 yard
of 2 great fantasy teams. Went down the drain when Neighbors got hurt.
Oh,
yeah.
I had naughty neighbors and friends and neighbors.
Oh.
Dude, I was so proud of these team names, and of course, drafted Malik. I was all in.
And now it's just a reminder.
But I gotta say. Let me get your opinion on this. I don't change the team name, right?
No, I don't think so.
No, good. All right.
Because he's still alive. He'll be back.
He's still alive.
Yeah, we don't have to pour one out for him.
I mean, what? It's just such a bummer to be seeing kind of the development of the offense finally and playing well, and then you almost forget that the best player on your offense is out for the season.
But I think timing wise, it's good. I think in a weird way, because I think like if Neighbors is healthy right now and Dart has this breakout game, I think you're hearing a lot more like, oh, playoffs, and then all of a sudden like the direction gets skewed. I like the idea that anything Dart does right now is overachievement.
Yeah. And I think you can argue developmentally, it's helpful for Dart not to be able to rely on arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. So like,
that's right.
And if he's not throwing to, if Dart's not throwing to him, then Neighbors you have to worry about Neighbors getting what he needs. And if Neighbors doesn't like him and all that, now Dart
what if week 12?
Yeah,
he's bitching about not getting fed. Like we don't need that this year. Like,
then
this is how we cope. This is how we cope.
It's like a Shockey situation all over again early in Eli's career. That was a problem for a little while.
I mean, if you want to shine a piece of shit, you can. The team would be better if he was playing. But all those things that you're saying are true. Obviously, Dart. No one's gonna give Neighbors credit for Dart doing well. Dart's gonna have to earn that on his own. So I mean, those are positives. But obviously, I think Neighbors being around would be fantastic for Dart's development in general. Easy guy to throw the ball to, and he's always open, and he gets your other guys open too. So,
but we would be remiss not to. And I said it a little while ago today that Carmen Brasillo, as the offensive line coach, has done a magnificent, magical job with this line that we have right now. I think it always gets overshadowed, and even when Schmidt went out, who we nicknamed the Minnesota Suck Boy for some reason when we drafted him, because we thought he was just going to suck, and he did. And so he kind of
actually, you know what? He's last game or the game before he had a good game, and then before he got hurt, he was also having the best game of his career before he went out. So
and then he got poked in the eye.
I don't know. I mean, Aaron Stinney came in and did equally a good a job as he did.
That was Schlotman.
Oh, Schlotman. Sorry, you're right. My bad. That's Stinney. But I mean, I think you're right, Colin. It's been such a shit unit for so long, and I don't even think the Giants are probably top half of the league in offensive line play. But just as a comparison to what you've been watching over the past few years, you can't not be happy. And Andrew Thomas being healthy, he is playing lights out this year. He hasn't let up one pressure the entire year, and I think over 100 pass block snaps that he's done. I think that the Giants are in a good position too. We always like to talk about the draft, but I think there's going to be a lot of offensive tackles in next year's draft, no matter where you're picking. And I think the Giants have a really good, opportunity to really shore up the line. And I think, that and their secondary is the two biggest deficiencies still. There's still holes there. You thought Odebo was going to come in and play a little better. He got torched by A.J. Brown, but a lot of people do. I don't know.
He's a big motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean, but you have to, you gotta love what the Giants are doing in the front seven. It's just our front six, as we like to say now.
Can you remember the last time that we closed out a game, or were in the spot to close out a game where we could just run it down their throats over and over again and really just knock the time off the clock and make them feel awful? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. What was the year when Ward and Jacobs both had 1,000 yards?
2009-ish, I think.
That's what I just said.
Thanks
for listening, guys.
We're just trying to confirm. I don't know if that was
nailed that. I heard it. I see you.
I had a super hacky question I wanted to ask Benny.
Please
draw a parallel between music and the Giants' young core now.
Sure.
So for our listeners, Benny's been playing big league music for 20 years now, right? You guys, like, Gaslight Anthem started in like 2006, 7, 8-ish. You guys are coming up.
Probably 15 since anybody's given a shit, but yeah. But
I mean, highs and lows. Yeah. Playing shows around the country, around the world.
Yeah, doing great. Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, like, when you're playing so much, thousands of shows with hundreds of bands, have you had moments where you saw like a new band, and maybe oftentimes quarterbacks are like the front man, but it doesn't have to be, but just with like a guy on the stage, just sort of, and you're like, immediately know that guy's got something, they're going to go somewhere. Like, I don't know where they're going to go, but they got something special. I feel like that sort of pops. And
I 100% think that there's some relationship there. Yeah, that's like astute. There is something in great singers, great songwriters, great quarterbacks, great locker room people that is just like, you got to have a certain type of charisma.
Yeah.
Because like it or not, I think I've seen, maybe go back a little. Like I have seen people fail in music, not because of their talent, but because of their ability to navigate the situation and the ability to have to instill leadership qualities, right? And I think if you're the front person of a band, especially the bigger and bigger it gets and the more things happen, the ones who probably navigate it the best are the ones who are like, all right, like it or not, this is part of my new job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's here. I can't pawn it off. I got to own it to a certain extent, and I got to find my way to navigate through it. And I think what a lot of people do is they can often form a character. You form this alternate version of yourself that can deal with the stage, that can deal with talking to people, especially socially awkward people, in the way that, you know, a lot of athletes and musicians both got good by being a little antisocial, besides for the people not in their band or not in their team, because it's this really like ultra focused work ethic that sometimes brings either of those things to a certain level. Yeah. So I do think there's this realistic quality that some people come with for whatever reason. Like some people are 18 years old and there's like Prince. He's just got it all fucking figured out. You know what I mean? The whole thing, like world on a string, I'm good. And every once in a while you see a quarterback come in, rookie year. Sometimes, you know, it's like the nepotism, the pedigree, like give a Manning the keys to a team and, you know, they got a lot more assets to call and things like that to go through that process. But I do think there is a real connection there, especially in the idea of like a new band. Like you said, it's got to be something that like excites people. Yeah, not just the people around them, you know, like the people who are fans of them, and there's got to be something, you know, like to latch onto, especially these days when, you know, you're so inundated with like so much information. The ability to pop and rise above that at all these days is even more difficult than it used to be. I mean, you know, Joe Namath threw on like a fucking fur coat and walked through Manhattan. Everyone's like, "Oh, look at this guy." You know, it was like the front page news, you know?
Absolutely.
If you did that, you'd have to literally, I want to say you'd have to kill a bunch of people, but no, like that barely gets any fucking news these days. So I don't know what you're going to do.
It's certainly, I mean, everything you're saying is like showing Dart for what he's shown so far. And it's like, I don't know. He must have I mean, he's definitely got a PR guy or some sort of a personal coach or something, but there's got to be someone who's just walking him through these processes of all the talking to the media, probably even talking to his own teammates. I mean, he might have been working on this since college. He seems so, I don't know, veteran in the conversational style. Like the press, I mean, things are positive, so it's easy right now. What's going to happen when he first, you know, gets that string of adversity that's really tough? I have a feeling he'll probably be okay at it, you know? Who knows? But it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, thank you for humoring me on that question, Benny. I think it's totally true.
Really
like
interesting.
You see, like, you know, you go to a show for a certain band and you watch the open air and you see, you know, something about the guitar player or the drummer or the lead singer, and like how he holds the mic. Like, when does he decide to engage the crowd? How many songs are they going to play before they introduce themselves? You know, what's the intro track they come when they like come on stage? All that stuff like is like sort of intangible, but is like really indicative of like who they are, you know, at a basic level, I think.
Yeah, it's like there's a thing that like there is like an teachable quality to some of it. You know what I mean? Like there is a thing where you just look at some guy and you're like, yeah, dude's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I kind of would be like that dude.
Notice I didn't say bass player, Colin. I just never the bass player.
Oh, come on. Colin's right in the middle of the stage.
I am. I remember that. I don't choose that. I'm not allowed to be on either side.
I love that
of the
every single time anyone's ever mentioned, why are you in the middle stage? Oh, you're in the middle stage. You're always like, it's not. I didn't decide that.
I didn't.
pick it. Wasn't
Every
me.
band you've ever been in, you've been the bass player in the middle.
Okay, well, I don't lead sing in this band, but
The Andrew Stewart. You know?
I asked Justin, I asked Will, I'm like, do you want me to, be on either side? And Will is he's stuck on the left. He wants to be on the left, and that kind of dictates all of it. So
Sure.
whatever.
You got what I'm telling you. You got moxie, kid.
Yeah.
Before we since we're running out of time, before we jump into little Broncos action, Benny, do you have what's your best Giant story you have for us in our podcast here?
Yeah, so I briefly mentioned to Colin when we saw each other, we played a show together a couple weeks ago in Philly, great bar show. And we were talking about this, and I had casually mentioned, I hung out with Lawrence Taylor one night. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
So based on it, he's like, save it, save it for the pod. Now I feel like I've set it up a little bit, but it was also very surreal for me, just the background, because my aunt, great woman, Judith Kaufman, she worked in the psychology department at Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey. And back in the day, the Giants used to have their training camps at Fairleigh Dickinson. And there was this friends and family of the faculty kind of day where you could go there, watch the Giants practice, watch them scrimmage, kind of be around some of the players, get a chance for autographs and stuff, great food. And I got to go to these a few times when I was a kid. And I have a beautiful picture my father took. He took one of those iconic, LT used to sit helmet football, and then he would sit. My dad caught one of those images by him. So we have a personal image of him at scrimmage sitting like that, which I forgot to bring to get signed when I met him. So all that being said was there is this real John F. Kennedy, Bruce Springsteen kind of feel to Lawrence Taylor to me, a very untouchable, larger than life figure, and he had been since I was a kid, and then you had Any Given Sunday. And then, in my 20s, I'm like, wow, this guy's a maniac, and all the trouble he's gotten into. We don't have to get into that side of things. So randomly about, I want to say 2021, probably, shortly after COVID, because I was running pretty fat. My brother-in-law was working for an ad branding company, was working with a company in New Jersey. It's a long story, but he basically was like, hey, there's this event at a golf course up in Livingston, New Jersey. Do you want to go? And, you can pop around with me. We can meet some of the players. They're going to be around. I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds great. So I show up one night thinking I'm just going to be hanging out and doing something. And some dude who's running a company is like, who? What's you, Benny? Lenny? All right, get over here, Lenny. And all of a sudden I'm working for this guy. And I'm like, what is going on? It was a very strange night to start. And then, all this stuff ends and I find myself outside at a table and it's pretty sure Howard Cross was around.
Nice.
And then there's a couple other people poking around. So it was one of these events where I guess rich guys pay a lot of money to go golf with the old New York Giants.
Yeah.
Up until this point, I didn't really know. I kind of knew maybe via something else that this world existed.
Yeah.
But I didn't kind of realize what was actually going on until I saw it. And so this person's launching a company and you hire a bunch of New York Giants to hang out and your rich friends get to take them out on a golf court and hear stories. And this is the deal. And I'm there the night before when all these guys are getting together. So you're seeing random guys from the late 80s, early 90s teams just pop into this golf course, say hello to each other, which it was a very surreal experience to me. And also kind of cool to see these figures that you imagined very, godlike to be very human, and just being like, all right, let's play cards. I want to drink. What are you doing? Oh, you're still a fucking animal? I'm not. I'm they had a whole fun back and forth that was really cool to be a fly in the wall about. And then before I know it, LT shows up You know, everyone's kissing his ass. It's obvious. He's smoking the cigar. It's like fully who you expect him to be. And we say hi. We're sitting at a table together. And then I get keys. I'm given keys to say to go get the bottle from the front seat. And I go to, I think, someone else's car. And I pull out a Johnny Walker Black giant fucking handle, bring it back to the table, and we're pouring around. And before I know it, I'm just sitting at a table with about 5 people getting drunk with Lawrence Taylor, and essentially him just like holding court. You know what I mean? He's a real larger than life figure. And I've had instances with people like this in the past where I'm like, this guy's being cool right now.
Yeah.
But
real time,
like you could just see it's like the edginess to it is just like it's palpable, you know? Yeah, and before I know it, we're deep into this handle. I'm just listening to him like rip the dudes. They're playing cards, they're betting, they're talking about how bad each other are at golf. And then he starts talking about just some great old Giants stories, one of which popped out to me, which was he was telling a story about being on the team. I think probably would have been like 84, maybe his rookie season. What was his rookie year?
82 or 3?
Yeah. So he was young, but you know, of course, like taking over the defense at that time and already a big fucking deal. Because I mean, by 86, he had 20 and a half sacks, right? So he was already cruising. And he's telling this story about some nerdy special teams coach who's kind of getting a little mouthy. And you know, he's calling this, and LT was specifically being like, nah, I'm not like doing anything this guy says because I don't know who the fuck he is. He doesn't even coach defense, you know. And apparently there was like a 6-game stretch where this guy's barking and barking and barking, and he wouldn't do anything about it. And I guess Parcells had to bring him into the office and essentially be like, hey, like this is the new dude. He's about to take over defense. He's been calling the defense for about a half a season. I just didn't really tell you guys. So maybe start listening to him. And obviously, you know, you guys can understand that this was Belichick like early on, you know? So that was the story that really popped out to me. It was just the idea that there was some coach where he's just like, what? Who? I don't give a shit about you. It really seemed like, you know, I remember seeing it in the Taylor doc that Parcells was just like the only one with that direct ear, you know, the one that he would actually like react to and change for. Parcells just had the key for whatever reason. And so cool. So he had to basically, he told Bill Belichick to fuck off for half a season until Parcells sat him down. I was like, no, this is our guy. Like you gotta listen to him. That one really stood out to me.
Which is pretty amazing to think about, that Parcells had the, you know, not that he wouldn't have the wherewithal, but like really smart easing Belichick into it, because he was just some young kid who was teaching or coaching a certain part of the game that, you know, they probably didn't respect as much as a defensive coordinator, but like also had an eye on knowing that he was going to be the future guy too. It's just, and the fact that the players are animals and they're going to tear anybody apart who they don't respect.
I mean, you've seen the clips of Belichick. He's got the short shorts and the bowl cut.
The windbreaker.
Him trying to tell LT what to do. That's hilarious.
He's never done himself any favors fit-wise.
No. You know? No, I guess not.
These sweatshirts these days, man.
Yeah, they're looking bad again.
He's a tailor.
You know, what a disaster when he was winning Super Bowls, but now the shirts are looking bad.
A little tight.
I don't think anyone knew that he was or could envision that he would have such a fall from grace like what he's dealing with right now in North Carolina. It's crazy.
No, and I mean, really, more than North Carolina, what was shocking was those couple years where you're just waiting for him to get an NFL job.
Yeah.
And you know, just every time there's one job that's up, you're like, oh, that's probably a Belichick job. That's probably Bill.
He burned a lot of bridges.
Over. That really shocked me. Really.
Yeah.
Did. And
it's hard to give total control over to a man that far in his career too. Like he was going to want to GM as well. Like that's a lot.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
He's still going to come back and coach special teams for the Giants one day.
Well, we're convinced.
That's his
retirement.
retirement.
Wrap it up. You know, if I saw LT like, you know, at an event now, I don't think we'd remember each other here.
Yeah.
He might, and if he did, he'd call me Lenny. But
Yeah,
I had one special night with him. One special night.
It's great.
it's beautiful.
It was great. And then the next day was fun because, well, it wasn't fun. It was a long story, but I did get to go to a dinner later that night. And my brother had randomly worked at Perth Amboy High School with Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker. So I got to go up to him and be like, you remember Luke Horowitz? From Perth Amboy High School? He's like, yeah. So I had a great talk with
Nice.
the touchdown maker. That was nice.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Great story. Broncos. How we feeling, guys? I don't know how I feel. I don't want to get excited, but I feel like the momentum is there. What are you guys thinking?
Broncos defense is really tough, so that'll be
Yeah.
a huge test for Dart and Scatterboo for that matter. It's away, it's at elevation. There's a lot of things against us, but we went into last week thinking we were going to get destroyed 90-0. So I don't know.
Yeah, you really
Exactly.
don't know.
I don't know is the answer. I feel like there's no other answer other than I don't know.
I mean, that game yesterday, the Broncos Jets game, albeit a London game, was one of the
Brutal.
worst
It was brutal.
football games I've
Terrible.
ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to think the Broncos might be a little bit better. Sean Payton will have them playing better. I don't think he's going to want to see that twice. But that being said, like Bo Nix isn't great. Like he can be on and can be
Yeah.
good, and they have a lot of weapons. But
I think
Our
this is
defense is
Broncos' way.
yeah,
They keep it ugly and they make it ugly, and I think that could really work against. I really think this game is going to be determined in the first half with like time of possession.
Probably.
I think if there's a number 3-4 3 and outs for the Giants and the Broncos have an opportunity to kind of grind down the field, that running game, the short passing game, and Nick's being smart, I think we could get ground down into like a real like 15-6. Same thing that happened to the Jets, so something has to get established early. And that's where I think I'm like Pavlov's Giants fan, and the idea that this offensive line is going to dominate the line of scrimmage against Denver and get a running game going. I'm just not there. I'm just not there yet, guys, to be optimistic about
I think
that.
it's going to
And
be a heavy defense.
yeah. And I feel
the
like
Giants
if you're
want-
going to
Yeah,
win
the
a
Giants
game like
wanna
that, it would take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Broncos offense thrives in play action, running the ball. So if they can stop the run, I think that they have a really good shot of, really stifling their offense. And, I think it's all going to come down to, who's going to score 14 points, who's going to score 10 points,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we start fast like we have been with Dart's, taking over this offense, I think that brings us, much closer to competing. We haven't not started fast. That it's even with the Saints game, that was fast too.
Yeah,
That gave us hope.
true.
And, the mistakes is what killed us there. Can't turn the ball over. Have to figure out a way to stop the run, and I think that's kind of the two things. Not that you can play mistake-free football, but
Right.
that's kind of what keeps us in these games, especially with a young roster. So,
yeah. you
What
can't
if
have
the
5
other
turnovers.
side of this pans out? What if, let me ask you that hypothetical. Say Giants walk out of Denver 3-4, signature wins, Chargers, Broncos on the road, and Super Bowl champion Eagles. Like, what kind of conversation we have next week? Are we now sticking to this modest plan, or are we like, all right, fuck it, you gotta put some gas in the engine,
Yeah.
go trade for a wide receiver, do something?
I saw the other day, or it was yesterday, I guess, Strahan was talking about on the CBS broadcast about how if we manage to win this weekend and go into Philly and beat them again, all of a sudden we're in first place in the NFC East,
Wow. Yeah.
which
I
is
hate this
insane.
conversation.
Yeah.
God, do I hate this conversation.
Well, I'm just saying it's like a possibility that's out there. That's all.
Do you
I
think
would
it's
say
bad
that
luck even talking about it?
I mean, I don't know. The division is weak this
which
year,
helps.
so
Yeah.
you're not wrong necessarily. There's nothing statistically or mathematically
No.
that takes us out of anything. But I'm not going to sit here after the last couple weeks and seeing, what the egg we laid in New Orleans and thinking that that's not something that can happen again.
Of course.
And that we're, I want to, if the Giants have a winning record, then maybe we can talk about that. But until that happens, I don't know.
The only reason I say that is because a Daniel Jones-led team would never even remotely give me the possibility of feeling like I can speak the words out loud. And this is a different scenario.
Yeah.
All
right.
I'm inspired.
Yeah.
I would just say that regardless of being in first place, if they beat the Eagles twice in 3 weeks, like I'm fully back in.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
To TJ's credit, I think it's true in the sense that next week, okay, let's not do it yet. After week 8, and you actually go into Philly and do that, then that's a different conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Your first
Agreed.
NFC East. You saw Jaden Daniels do it last year, right? To a point. Like this rookie model sometimes works. Not often, but sometimes works.
Knock on all the wood.
Yeah. So I guess maybe we can reassess after that. I feel like TJ's not feeling good about this conversation. though. He's you got to burn some sage or something.
I do get optimistic, and then I always get let down. So I just don't want to bring myself to that point again. It was a great game, and it was super fun to watch. I had a great time talking shit and to Eagles fans and all that. It was really fun. But I hope we can do it again in the next couple of weeks. But until that happens, I'm not going to sit here and think that the Giants have any chance of doing anything this year.
That's fine.
You don't want to open yourself up to the pain.
No.
Exactly.
You know
Keep
what?
it closed off.
It's like when Game of Thrones was on. After the Red Wedding, I just spoiled every episode before I watched it for my own heart. I went on the internet and I said, "What happened this episode?" All right, good. Now I can watch.
Take it from me.
You gotta take care of yourself. We look like men going into our advancing years. Our hearts could explode at any time. You don't want to do this to yourself. So
100%.
It's true.
Smart, TJ.
Yeah,
smart.
All right, guys, we're gonna hit our time. Thanks for listening tonight, everybody. Benny, thanks for being on. You can catch Gaslight Anthem at When We Were Young Festival in Vegas on 18th and 19th. Great lineup here. I kind of want to go.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane.
You can have your, you can have your 16-year-old kid pick you up after you're done because you've been drinking too much. And follow Big Blue United, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us, BBU Podboys with the Z on Twitter. And we'll see you next week, Benny. Thanks again for being on. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Pleasure. I'll come talk about Big Blue anytime. I appreciate you.
Hold it to it.